Welcome back to the show. Luke Beasley here, filling in for David. You can find me at Luke Beasley on YouTube. It's a great time. Why aren't you there already? Come on, go subscribe. But Trump held quite the insane press conference yesterday at Trump Tower. And we're going to actually start at the end, and then I'll go show you other clips. He gets asked one particular question that causes him to conveniently forget absolutely everything. Just empty out his brain and go, I don't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about. And that is on the subject of Mark Robinson. I know David has broken down this insane story for you, but Mark Robinson, a person that Trump described as Martin Luther King on steroids times 2, someone who Trump has been so complimentary of. Well, it was discovered that as he was chatting it up on a porn site, Nude Africa, I think it was called, Mark Robinson described himself as a black Nazi, talked about how he wanted slavery to come back, reflected on memories of himself as a 14-year-old watching the female shower room, locker room as people were showering, and super publicly anti-trans, but talked about how he liked trans porn, as well as discussing a bunch of other stuff that would be too vulgar for this professional format. So that guy is now being run away from by a lot of Republicans and North Carolina gubernatorial candidate. Trump gets asked about him. He knows very well what has happened, but conveniently, his brain is empty when he gets asked this.
Are you going to pull your endorsement of Mark Robinson?
I don't know the situation.
Do you believe that you...
I don't know the situation. Yeah, you do. You do. You do. And we know you do. This is not convincing anyone. But it's notable, despite him trying to act as if I don't know anything about the situation. Who knows? It is notable that he's not denouncing Robinson. He should be judged for not denouncing and revoking his endorsement. So where things stand now, even if he's saying, I don't know the situation, he's not affirmatively saying, no, I'm still for Robinson. But when you endorse someone, until you announce you've revoked your endorsement, you've still endorsed them. So Trump is still someone who's endorsed a quote-unquote black Nazi. Other moments from this, he wasn't more clear on details at much of the press conference, as you'll see here when asked about Gaza.
Okay.
Yesterday at the UN General Assembly came together to call for an immediate ceasefire. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is speaking at the UN tomorrow. He has refused to do that. What would you do differently to prevent the Middle East?
Well, you have to have that ended one way or the other. The world isn't going to take it. You have to have that ended, and I would think that we're getting close to a point where maybe it can end pretty soon.
That provides no insights to anyone about anything. His political goal on so many issues is to be vague enough or specifically contradictory enough, throw out enough issues, or just never really state a clear stance, such that it's hard for people to determine, all right, I definitely know this is his stance and I definitely disagree with it. And it's a very dishonest way to go about politics. Very similar answer on Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
I believe I will be able to make a deal between President Putin and President Zelensky quite quickly.
But what does that look like? What does that look like? What does that?
I don't want to tell you what that looks like.
I don't want to tell you what that looks like. That's sort of what you do when you're running for an office. You kind of you say what you do, and then we decide, do we want to elect you to do that or not? But all Trump can say is this never would have happened, that never would have happened, this never would have happened, that never would have happened, never explaining what he would have done differently to actually facilitate such a situation where that doesn't happen if he were president. And he can never explain specifics on how he'd bring any conflict to a resolution. So when Maga says, I want Trump because he'll prevent war, he'll stop war, hey, how about you wait to hold such a stance until he gives you reason to? Until He explains what he'd do to bring things to a peaceful resolution. Then, he once again calls for one of his political opponents to be prosecuted.
And Nancy Pelosi has a little problem because her husband sold their Visa stock. They had a lot of Visa stock one day before Visa was announced that Visa is being sued by the Department of Justice. Think of that. Nancy Pelosi sold vast amounts of Visa stock one day before the big lawsuit that we all read about a few days ago was brought against Visa. You think it was luck? I don't think. She should be prosecuted. Nancy Pelosi should be prosecuted for that. And she should also be prosecuted for J6 because she turned down 10,000 or any number she wanted, soldiers or National Guard. And I hope you all read John Solomon. And
No, we didn't. So, lie. I will specify on the Visa thing, I think it was like 2 months before, and it was her husband. And thus far, we don't have evidence of illegality. But if Trump wants to come out in support of a congressional stock trading ban, okay. Many Democrats support that. But no. He's just focused on Nancy Pelosi being put in jail because he doesn't like her. And that's shown by him then pushing conspiracy theories to justify jailing her about January 6th. Deranged stuff. Then, as I told you earlier in the show, there's this weird Maga defense going on of Eric Adams, the Democratic mayor of New York, who was indicted on corruption charges, getting money from foreign sources, campaign finance violations, and now so that they can stick with the DOJ is rigged, they're saying it's even maybe weaponized against a Democrat. What?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the mayor well, but he's been fairly generous to me in his statements for a while. I thought you had the worst mayor ever that we had prior to him. I will say this. I watched about a year ago when he talked about how the illegal migrants are hurting our city and the federal government should pay us and we shouldn't have to take them. And I said, you know what? He'll be indicted within a year. And I was exactly right, because that's what we.
So I do need to come clean with y'all in case any of you see something on my jacket. I just tried to take a drink of water while I was off camera, and the cap was still on, but it was unscrewed, and I spilled on myself. So know that. I see it too. I'm sorry. And I got distracted by what he was saying and didn't focus on drinking my water. But he is doing what we've seen Laura Ingraham and others do, which is maybe the DOJ was weaponized against Republicans and now weaponized against Democrats too. It's weaponized against everyone. There's a two-tier justice system, but two tiers meaning both tiers are treated the same. No. Sorry. No. I'm not even going to explain why no, because you have the burden of proof and you haven't brought forward a shred of proof that now this is also weaponized against Eric Adams. No. Then on his meeting coming up today with Zelensky.
President Zelensky said that you do not understand what it takes to win this war.
Oh, then I should immediately cancel my appointment. No, he knows. He knows I understand. Look. I hate to see the carnage. If I were president, it never would have happened.
We all hate to see the carnage. We all would like to see a just and peaceful resolution. It's Vice President Kamala Harris who's actually explaining how she sees that going, which is our support of Ukraine eventually discouraging Putin from continuing. You're the one who talks about the carnage, as we all do, without actually working one single second of your life to come up with a plan for a solution. Saying it never would have happened is not a solution. He did rant over and over again, as he's doing constantly, lying about Harris, saying that she's lying about McDonald's.
These people are a fraud. Just like nobody talks about it, but Kamala never had a job at McDonald's. Her resume talks about McDonald's. When I worked at the French fry counter It was so tough, so hot. She didn't work there. She never worked at McDonald's. It was a lie. These people.
I don't know why he's so obsessed with this. First of all, it's not a lie. Second of all, why is this the thing you're so fixated on? And it just goes on and on. I don't know if you need to. He ranted for about 30 minutes about the border. You've heard all of that before. I don't think it's really justified to just give him that platform over and over again to lie. He brought up Springfield. He brought up Colorado. All the things you've heard before. Then in saying that this is a purposeful plan, immigration plot, sort of the great replacement theory type stuff, he pushes this.
Their policies are so wrong and so evil and so unfair. And there's only 3 reasons they want to do that. Number one, they're incompetent. And I'm not sure that that's the reason. Number 2, they want it for the votes. And number 3, you know what that one is. We don't have to talk about that one.
I guess alluding to the great replacement theory. Some sick and twisted stuff, and Trump's the one who has encouraged Republicans to shoot down border security bills. So not only is he pushing deranged rhetoric on that subject, demonizing people, saying he's going to deport lawful immigrants who are here legally from Springfield, who are Haitian, to Venezuela. Yes, he said that in one of his California press conferences. I'm going to deport them to Venezuela. What? Why? First of all, why would you deport them if they're here legally? Second of all, why are you deporting them to Venezuela? Double weird. So his rhetoric is deranged. And if we dive into the underlying topic at issue, he also is the one shooting down solutions and not serious about addressing the problems that do exist, which aren't the ones that he fearmongers about. And then finally, this.
And I haven't gotten an apology. I want an apology from ABC.
Well, we'll just keep waiting by the phone for that. That is today's show. Thank you to David for having me back, and thank you all for watching. We will have a beautiful, fantastic, wonderful bonus show, and so do become a member to get that, and have a wonderful weekend. If you're not going to join us for the bonus show, and David will be back, from my understanding, on Monday.
Support our show by checking out our sponsor, Brain FM Focus Music. They're giving you free access to their app for a whole month at brain.fm/Pacman. Once you try Brain FM, you'll quickly understand why this has become my go-to music app when I just want to focus on work. In addition to music for focusing on work, they have modes specially designed for sleep, relaxation, meditation, all created by musicians working with neuroscientists. Brain FM is the only music app funded by the National Science Foundation because of their unique audio technology that changes the patterns in your brain. Brain FM has been an amazing tool when I just want to focus on work. In the past, I've tried Spotify or YouTube. I end up distracted or can't find exactly what would be most useful for me. So at a certain point, I figured silence must be the solution until I discovered this. Brain FM is personalized depending on your brain type, even has a special ADHD mode that provides extra stimulation to brains that need it the most. So if you want to improve your focus or relax, give Brain FM a try for 30 days totally free. Go to brain.fm/Pacman. The link is in the description.